The final month of the Suncorp Super Netball regular season is upon us, and that means there has never been a more critical time for the Fever or Giants to bank the 4 competition points. Ben Homer with you alongside former Giant Sam Poolman for the call. First, the team news. The Fever are without Anstis, who's out with that foot injury. Ellis and Ariang are out due to the COVID protocols. No changes for the Giants.
It has certainly shaken up that Fever lineup. We see Shannon Eagland come into the wing defence position. She is experienced, and then Stacey Francis-Bayman in the goal defence. So watch that area of the court. I think it's going to match up really well against the Giants. And
this is a fierce rivalry, some controversial clashes down the years. The Giants have not won here in the West since 2017. Their only win in the 4 previous matches against the Fever in Perth. So we're all set and ready to go here at RAC Arena. The Giants looking for back-to-back wins. The Fever to bounce back from that midweek defeat here at home against the Vixens. The Fever sitting second on the table, the Giants third. A significant match in the Super Netball season. The Giants chasing their first win in the West in 5 years. And Sam, you feel there could be a bit of spice in this one, and already early on, Courtney Bruce is just making her presence felt.
This is a really heated battle here in Perth between Giants and Fever. I've been a part of those games, Ben, and they've gone down to the wire. In 2018, we had a blood sock incident which left Giants with 6 players on the court. In 2019, 3 seconds to go, but the clock was called, so Bass shot a shot and it ended up in a draw. And then last year, the Giants mid-air got sucked into a quarantine 3 days into that lockdown into that match. They lost by 1. So this rivalry in Perth is certainly heated, and both teams will remember their history.
So not much niceties between these two. Plenty of spice. Keep an eye on that one today as Maddie Hay linking with Dwyer up and over the top for Joe Harton. Makes it 2 from 2. A good start from both shooters. As you would expect, very experienced internationals. Harton, the English international. Janelle Fowler, the in-form goal shooter in the competition. Looks as though she may win the leading goal scorer award for a 5th consecutive season in the Suncorp Super Netball, and she keeps it locked at 2 apiece. Maddie Hay, here's Jamie Lee Price. She's in that rolling team of the year at centre. She's playing a big role, feeding into Harton. And now here is almost an intercept, a turnover almost initiated by the Giants, but the Fever able to recover through Teague Neild. And Simmons finding Fowler, who will lock us up once again.
And this is a much better start from West Coast Fever. They identified with their game on Tuesday night, their start was not good enough against a quality side like the Vixens. Today is no different. It doesn't matter who's wearing that green dress for Fever. They need to start this match well.
We spoke about before how tense this rivalry is. It was only 1 goal that separated them back in round 6. We know, of course, the Fever had a couple out due to the COVID protocols. That had an impact. Big loss of Glasgow, who's been shooting the lights out in recent matches. So that had an impact. They've got another 3 out today, the Fever. So what kind of impact will that have? And could that benefit the Giants, who were decimated early in the season by the COVID protocols? Glasgow now to Fowler. These two inseparable inside the opening 3 minutes. And Dan Ryan's up and about. It's his birthday today, 39 years of age, so happy birthday to Dan. Hopefully for his sake, he can get the 4 points as well.
I think he'll be really happy that you wished him a happy birthday, but not mentioned his age. But yes, you're right. A win for him in this part of the season. It's so crucial, and definitely the bounce back from their game against Vixens. If they want to continue to put pressure on that ladder, this game is important in Giants who are in form now.
Well, he's an absolute spring chicken, Dan Ryan. Hasn't even hit the 40 yet as Joe Harton drops it through. So very efficient. Well, up to that point, Dwyer just got an arm in, but penalty called against her, so it'll be Frances Bayman, who's slotting in there at goal defence with Sunday Ariang out due to the COVID protocols. Massive, massive loss. The diamond from this. Fever line-up, and there's bad hands from Fowler. So the Giants with a chance to take advantage of a mistake from one of the Fever's key players. You don't expect that from Janelle Fowler.
You don't, but they're the little wins that they need. Giants need to make sure that they score off. Things like that don't happen often in a game. They'll transition this and make this one count.
So 2-goal advantage with a chance to make it 3 if they're good enough here, the Giants. And they are. That's very efficient from the centre pass.
And very easy. There's not much pressure that second and third phase from the Fever. I think that that's the adjusting of different players on court, but they need to build some more pressure.
Simmons quickly cut with Glasgow. Fowler just eases those nerves from a moment ago. They don't want to lose back-to-back matches, especially here at home. And the Giants now make a mistake, giving away the penalty for breaking. And Fowler is going to make them pay, you would expect, and does. They can get back on level terms here, West Coast. Oh, a little bit of a tangle. Frances Bayman going through and just tripping over the leg. Simmons now to Fowler, so we're back at 8 apiece. You would expect from Fowler, we are. So they got the 3-goal advantage. The Fever pegged them back almost instantly. Here's that little bit of a tangle between Price and Frances Bayman. Much in that, Sam. Play on.
I absolutely play on, but that's the heat of this battle. 2 players going at it, not giving up.
Teague Neal going the high road to Fowler. Oh, well, we just put up that graphic. That's not a commentator's curse, that's a graphics department curse. 100% shooting accuracy. Fowler does get the rebound, it's 9 apiece. It's your first season of commentary, Sam. You haven't put any curses on yet, have you?
I hope not. I think I'm just here to call it how it is and give some insight and allow the players to do the talking, and we won't hopefully jinx it from our end.
Joe Harton, very experienced English international, and she puts the Giants back in front. Teague Neal. Fowler, such a long stride, just gets herself closer to goal and brings us into 10 apiece. Dwyer finding Price. Harton on the stretch. And that was a tricky pass, and Bruce and Frances Bayman able to force the turnover. Dwyer was just sandwiched in between the 2 defenders, and it comes apart for the Giants.
And that's a win that we do see from Fever, is that ability to think that that pass is on and they go. We can see in the Harvey Norman replay, they're sitting there waiting, the ball goes, that's the intercept. That's a really good defense unit reading the play like that.
So Simmons to Fowler, and she puts the Fever in front. Let's go to the sideline with Nat Medhurst.
Just a timeout here by the Giants. But it's interesting the different types of play that's happening in defence here. Fever really need to make sure that they get off the body because Giants are being very body on, and so that'll be something that Dan will want to address with them heading into this timeout now.
Thanks, Nat. Let's have a listen to Julie Fitzgerald.
Don't neglect the high arms over. Toby Lee, don't neglect the high arms over. Get off that body a little bit. Give yourself more room. High arms.
On their centre pass, when Courtney's up, we've got to capitalise and punish. Be over, be available in the first phase, and then we kill them on the second. Yeah, we're not drifting over when Courtney's on that line.
And he's screaming out all the time to hunt. So keep an eye on that, all right? And we might be able to play put it in. All right? Good start. Good start.
It's a good start, but let's not get caught up in their pace. When we have possession, we've got our L swing, we're coming down the other side. When they're on that fast break, get the hands over the ball. Good start, girls. Giants on 3, 1, 2, 3, Giants, let's go.
So you heard it there, the HCF tactical timeout from Julie Fitzgerald. What did you make of that, Sam?
Really specific feedback and exactly what you need from the defenders. They need to have hands over that pass and every single player from the Giants. The reason for that is you block the vision into the post. So the last couple of minutes, we've seen a really easy ball go into Fowler because that feeder, the person with the ball in their hands, can see that. So hands over ball, and then in attack, Joe Hart kill that second phase. So let's look at what they do down the other end of the court and if they expose that second phase. So the second pass off the centre pass down the Giants attack end.
Let's watch how this unfolds now. Simmons, Glasgow right in the bread basket, looking for just a one. We're not quite in power 5, but Sasha Glasgow's just getting warmed up early.
And that's exactly what Giants said in their timeout. Exploit Courtney Bruce if she's going out high or hunting. Make sure that ball goes in quickly. So that's the strategic play that's happening by the Giants so far, and it's working.
So the Fever keep this 2-goal margin. Let's go to the sideline with Nat Medhurst. What did you hear from Dan Ryan there, Nat?
Yeah, for the Fever, in their attack line, just wanting to get a bit more balance between Glasgow and Teague Neal. They are mirroring each other, particularly off their centre pass, and they're being forced backwards a lot for their second phase. So just making sure that they've got a bit of balance, as well as with Courtney Bruce, that hedging. So I think start seeing her to come out and have a bit of a fly at some balls. And keep an eye as well. She's actually doing a positional switch with Frances Bayman at times. So they'll be looking to try and create a bit of a mismatch there.
Thanks, Nat. So the Giants with that misplaced pass hitting the rim, and now it gives the Fever a chance for this 4-goal margin now. They've broken away, and now the Giants, well, we know they're Suncorp Super Shot specialists. They're going to need a couple here to get themselves back level at least. Power 5 on the way, remembering that Suncorp is donating $100 to the Confident Girls Foundation for every Suncorp Super Shot today. This will just be the one from Harton, so it brings it back to 3. The Fever will get the first opportunity here to go for the 2-pointer. Fowler, close enough for her liking. They're going to go up by 1s, the Fever. So first opportunity here for the Giants. We know how much they enjoy the super shots. Will they go straight away? Yes, they will. And Dwyer delivers straight away. Didn't take long. There's 2 for the Giants. England, the pass had to be flung in. That's brilliant from Hay.
The pressure from both teams in that play, you could feel the intensity coming, and a reward from Hay. She is good defensively, and we'll see if Giants can deliver and finish it off.
Well, they've just been behind by 4, and they're back level. 2 super shots, 2 from 2 for Sophie Dwyer. And we have another HCF tactical timeout. Dan Ryan a little bit concerned about what's happened since we got into the Power 5.
Okay, notice the change in centre now, so you've got to go hard on it and make everyone comfortable. All right, so keep them off the circle edge for as long as possible. Sitting nice and high, you two, footwork. All right, really important. Longer court link. Okay, so as they're trying to bring it through, try and punch the middle corridor. Don't get too deep. All right, really important. Once she's linked, it's got to be you next. Okay, look for that. So in the super shot period, all right, put yourself in the 2-point range and either come out on the release of the circle, only on our centre pass though. So if it's a grit moment, 1 point, our centre pass, let's see if we can get a 2 in there, all right? So open it up to Sash, all right?
When you're not getting so far apart, play aside and someone has to stay.
All right, everyone handsy guys, let's go.
Possession, a few options.
Okay, everyone is responsible for scoring goals, everyone responsible for getting the ball on defence, all right? So come out of this 60-second charge with the work rate and energy. Let's win this battle in this quarter. Let's go.
Precious Fever! Fever on 3, 1, 2, 3!
So you heard there the HCF tactical timeout with Dan Ryan. He wants them to fire up for these final 4 in the first quarter.
Really interesting and strategic play by Dan Ryan there, saying in grit moments we're going to go for a 1 point. So that means when they get possession of the ball and it transitions, go for a 1 point. Their centre pass, back yourself in for a 2. So really strategic, clear play by Fever as we see Jamie pop up the ball there and Fever get the win. So let's see if they strategically go for a 1 here.
Well, let's hear what Julie Fitzgerald said during that timeout. Nat, what happened from the Giants side of things?
Well, they were talking about in attack, making sure that they don't force those balls, use the reset that if they need to. Fitzgerald also spoke to the defenders about making sure the way in which they position their body and using their feet, particularly on Fowler and coming around for that ball. It was quite interesting to notice as well, during that timeout, Jamie Lee Price was with the physio throughout the whole thing, so she does have a bit of strapping on her hand, which I'm not sure if was there before, but yeah, she seems to be moving okay, but just keep an eye on her.
Thanks, Nat. Yeah, that is a concern. The informed centre in the competition, Jamie Lee Price. So happy, as we heard from Dan Ryan during the HCF tactical timeout, just to go up in 1s at the moment. The Giants, they could fight back with 1 shot here. Harton linking with Price. They're just going to take the 1 point option. These two sides very evenly matched. Amy Parmenter steals it back for the Giants.
Intercept for this game as well. And that's so crucial in teams like this that can have the ability, Fever, to have that score line pressure, but Giants the ability to score the super shot. So hand-on ball is crucial.
Well, Harton gets the Giants back in front. It's been a while since they've been there, but the super shots are draining quite regularly for the visitors. Well, it is mid-range there from Dwight. She opted for the easier option, and that's Harton. They're back out by 2. What a topsy-turvy first quarter this has been. Both teams have had their opportunities in front. That probably tells the story.
The last 3 goals in a row are by Giants netball. So you can see the patterns of the play and why it's important to get hands on ball. And then your ability to go down the other end and really use that possession to score.
So the super shot's not quite draining for the Fever at the moment. Sasha Glasgow. Price, and now Harton quickly into Dwyer. Just a little nervous about that shot. Got a bit of height on it. It did drop through, though. Oh, there's an issue for Parmenter. She goes down twice in quick succession. She's lost her footing. There's some sweat on the court. Glasgow looking for her first super shot, and she delivers. Sasha Glasgow to bring it back to 21 apiece. It deserves to be level at quarter time, you feel. Simmons hits the floor. Harton looking for 2. It was a flat shot. So there's the super shot attempts. The first miss there for the Giants. Glasgow, Fowler looking to put the Fever in front ahead of quarter time. So can the Giants nab one back? Well, they won't because they don't have the centre pass. Fowler has the chance to make it a 2-goal margin at quarter time and does. They've got just a few seconds here, the Giants. Not quite long enough, even though Dwyer just practicing a Suncorp super shot drops through. It won't count though. And at quarter time, it is the West Coast Fever who lead it by 2. We'll be back for the second quarter right after the break. You're watching Fox Netball.
Welcome back to RAC Arena. It is quarter time here. Down here with the Giants, Julie Fitzgerald really asking her mid-quarters to apply that defensive pressure in attack as well. Dwyer and Harton really working on that combination and making sure that they're really finding that space and working well off each other. We know Courtney Bruce is going to come out and attack that ball, so they're really wanting to make sure they keep it out of the playground for her and make the most of their opportunities. Back to you guys in the studio.
I was listening in to Dan Ryan at the Fever huddle, and isn't he so great with his players? He gives them direction and clear communication of what he wants. He spent a lot of time with the attackers saying, have the confidence in your ability, use your give and go to get the top of the circle. And when he spoke about super shots, if you feel it, go for it. He then spent a little bit of time with Courtney Bruce explaining that she needs to use her footwork and to get in front. So that battle between her and Harton, I think Harton's got the edge at the moment, so we'll watch that closely.
Brilliant analysis of that quarter time brought to you by Origin Energy right here on Fox Netball. It's a tight contest, we expected it. It is very often the case when the Fever take on the Giants. This will be the second biggest lead of the match so far. 3 goals. They did get out to 4 in that first quarter. Price to Harton. Back to 2. So their major strength is those Suncorp super shots. They're going to have to wait a bit of time to get those opportunities again, the Giants. So they're going to have to graft away here and look to win some ball back. Fowler very comfortable, as she often is. As Hay gets flattened by Simmons, a little bump in the back. Harton was just totally free. 2 English internationals there, Frances Bayman and Joe Harton. Know each other's games very, very well. Here is Frances Bayman. Glasgow just measuring that pass to Fowler. Tilly McDonald forced to stand aside. He'll be liking what he sees today, Dan Ryan. At the moment, a 3-goal advantage. Turns 38 today, so he's hoping to celebrate with 4 competition points and locking down second spot on the table.
Just way too easy from Giants netball. We do know that Fever are missing the structure of their defence end down there, but for me, Harton's just making this look way too easy. She's exposing it. There's plenty of options, and I don't think at the moment that the Fever defenders have any answers. They need to work on one-on-one and create a bit more pressure.
So Fever keep this advantage. Let's go down to the sideline with Nat.
Yeah, just keep an eye on Sasha Glasgow next time the ball's in the Fever attack line. She's actually running quite deep into the goal circle and almost trying to use Fowler as a bit of a screen, but sometimes she's getting caught in these big, long, loopy runs. So whilst it's good to try and, I guess, get that depth, I'd probably just like to see her using a bit sharper movement and angles to actually really try and open herself up. So just watch what she's doing when the ball is down their end.
And really interesting that Nat brings in that point, because all of the timeouts and in that quarter break, Dan Ryan spoke a lot about that long court link, whether that's Alice and making sure they're not too deep. So really interesting that she hasn't adjusted yet. Strategically that works, but I think they need another player like Simmons or Teague Neal to link that better if she's going so deep.
Julie Fitzgerald, very experienced coach, former assistant of the Diamonds. She's been there for every season of the Suncorp Super Netball with Giants Netball. 1-2 continuous between Price and Harton. And it works a treat for Giants Netball. Joe Harton with the lion's share as usual. Glasgow. And Fowler, well, of course, she's sinking another one there for West Coast Fever. That could prove critical. The Giants could not afford giving away that obstruction penalty, and now the Fever have a chance to extend this advantage, and Fowler should do just that.
And those are the little calls, the breaking calls that you don't want to do in a match like this when it's so hard to get ball back. We do probably need to identify that this has been a really big week in lots of matches. No surprise, missing net points. Fowler dominating at the top, followed by Simmons this week, should I say, sorry, in the last game. She was fairly quiet, and Dan Ryan was very direct with her. So good to see that she's standing up, performing better today against a really good matchup in Price.
So she gives away the most penalties in the competition, Courtney Bruce. But she is one of the premier defensive players. That's the thing, Sam, you'd know this. You've got to fly close to the wind to try and win ball back.
Well, you're right, and I was about to back her up and say she does give away costly penalties, but she also is in that top 2 in terms of getting ball back. So it's the fine line between contesting and staying in play and getting your hands on ball and not standing out of play to stop you from doing that. So it's a fine line.
Dwyer, and now Maddie Hay was almost going to give netball away a few years ago after she was not contracted by the Swifts. Brought back into the fold at the Giants and has been outstanding for them, and so too is this young woman, Sophie Dwyer, in that Giants goal attack role in the Diamond squad as well.
You're right, we don't often talk about Hay, and I think that's because it's a positive thing in terms of she doesn't turn over much ball and does the job for the Giants tack end. She is leading in terms of their centre pass receives, so she's key in getting that ball and feeding into the circle.
Yeah, third most Nissan net points last season and part of that Aussie development squad. Fowler.
Well, and when I say she has the ability to be so dominant in attack and centre pass receives that we've just seen, she also has the ability to read the ball and get the ball back for her team. We mentioned that she's been a wing defence, and that's crucial when you're a younger player and you often find yourself in multiple positions. That's why, because you can bring those strengths and learnings into the game.
Good movement there from Sophie Dwyer to link with Harton. So they're keeping with West Coast at the moment. I want to try and claw back into this. Well, this is an opportunity now. Parmenter, Harton. They really have to make this count, the Giants. And now Harton giving away the contact penalty. Well, just when they seem to have an opportunity, they make a mistake or give away a penalty, the Giants. It's been an issue for them in this first half.
And you've got to remember, these players played last weekend. They played Tuesday or Wednesday, and they're backing up today. When you have limited options in your bench, and then you've been travelling all over the state, tiredness does come into play. 60 minutes of Super Netball is tough, let alone 3 games in the last 7 or 8 days for some of these teams.
Let's hear from Julie Fitzgerald.
Do we have any scores out there? You're right, Max. Doing some good work down there, particularly when you open up the middle for them and we can go to either side. You've done that a couple of times and it's worked really, really well, all right? Get those arms up in the air. You're doing a good job down here. Something will come your way, right? But you've always got a freebie. So if they have a freebie on the centre pass, we've got to make sure there's no second phase, all right? But it's a dangerous game to play because it gives them an open feed into the circle. So be careful of that one, all right? Right, be creative in there. Think of different ways to confuse the space. Get your arms up in the air and ride her all the way, all right?
Remember what we said, no matter what's happening on the scoreboard, we do not give up. We're hustling, we're fighting the whole way. 7 minutes left in this quarter, let's use our brains. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, go! Let's go!
Joe Hart with the pep talk there for the Giants as they look to reel in this 5-goal margin. Interesting, the thoughts there also of Julie Fitzgerald in that HCF tactical timeout. That's the run home. 3 sides out of the top 4 at the moment, but they really love to fight back into this one.
Well, and in this season, it's anyone's game. We saw Lightning take it to Firebirds in yesterday's match, so it doesn't matter if you're playing teams that aren't in the top of the ladder. Every single game and every single win counts.
It is one of the tightest races in Suncorp Super Netball history, this one. It is just incredible how tight it is. One slip up and you can be out of the final spots, and that's exactly what could be the case for the Giants if they are unable to get the win.
And every goal matters. When we talk about percentage, that could be the difference between your team getting into finals or not, or hosting a final. It's how many goals you can score on the scoreboard, but what you can limit the other team to. So now more than ever in this season, not only are wins are important, but the percentage is so tightly contested. That's why this season, I think, is the most exciting one we've seen in Super Netball.
Yeah, cannot wait. Final month of the competition. 3 matches left after this. Both teams just get an opportunity to have a breather. They've missed a spot. Lauren Moore just making sure that they got every bit of sweat that's on the court. And hey, to Harton. Price using Dwyer. Francis Bayman with the contact on Sophie Dwyer. Slotting in there at goal defence. And of course, we have seen a play there, but Sunday Ariang, the first choice for West Coast Fever, out today due to the COVID protocols.
Dan Ryan's been very vocal in games that he has 14 players in his squad and he's going to use them. So they will take confidence in this match, knowing that they have multiple players, and he has started different lineups, not because a player's out, but to change it up. So strategically, he has the answer. We also see in the back of the screen Lauren Moore enter the court in goal defence. And also on the screen, the last 10 goals. This shows how tight this match is. The last 10 have gone back and forth.
Heading towards the power 5. And this is going to be West Coast Fever's ball for the contact from Dwyer after she missed the shot. And Parmenter just gone over the sideline. She thought she had it back for a moment for the Giants. So will it be the West Coast Fever who get the first opportunity in the Power 5? It's looking like that will be the case. But you doubt they'll be taking risks at this point with a 5-goal lead. We are into power time as Teague Neal got sandwiched by Price and Parmenter. Well, they are straight away. Sasha Glasgow. They have got a big break now, the West Coast Fever.
Let's see in this last 5 minutes what this Giants defence end can do. We see April Brandley coming back in goalkeeper and Lauren Moore in that goal defence position. Julie Fitzgerald in that last HCF timeout said that they need to be creative. So they'll be taking risks, need to have a fly and see if they can get any hand on ball in this last 4 minutes play.
Well, they really need a Suncorp super shot. Bruce with the intercept. It is all going to the team in green at the moment.
Talking about hands on ball, that's the first intercept from Courtney Bruce in this game. We often see her hand on ball in high-stakes moments, and that's what she's done from her team.
Let's get a comment from Nat sideline.
Yeah, just wanted to talk about the Teagnell-Parmenta matchup. Obviously, we know how much speed Parmenta's able to generate coming onto that ball, and I'd like to see Alex Teagnell just look to actually using her body more and actually taking that strength away from Parmenta when she's able, as we see that ball go over the baseline there. When Parmenta's able to get that real run on, it really plays into her strength. So with Teagnell using her body, almost setting screens for herself, and also working with Glasgow to work her off each other, it'll just take Parmenta out of the game, because once she starts getting her hands on a few more balls, it's really going to lift this Giants team.
So Jo Hart, they really need this, and she's overshot. She'll get another opportunity though. Behind by 9. It's a massive margin. There's a lot of pressure on this shot, because if they cannot drain this Suncorp super shot, all of a sudden it's an opportunity for the Fever. And Dwyer, so cool under pressure. That's another $100 to the Confident Girls Foundation. Hay with a bullet pass to Harton. Dwyer again from the same position virtually as she was a moment ago. And it's a carbon copy. 9 behind. It's back to 5 now. Verity Simmons. Now Teagnell. Ella Strong. Contact from April Brandley.
As a defender, you need to stay in play this last couple of minutes. Like we saw down the other end, Courtney Bruce gave away a penalty, which allows the shooter to get another shot. What absolute incredible vision from Sophie Dwyer. Jo Harton was all alone. Bruce out hunting. That vision was fantastic.
So they're keeping it at 5 at the moment, the Giants. Final 2 minutes of this first half. They'll get the centre pass now, the Giants, and Sophie Dwyer, she's got a hot hand at the moment. 4 from 4 from the Suncorp super shot. Looking for a 30th of the season, and it doesn't drop. Harton, well, it took an age. And she was able to fling it back to Dwyer, just the one. So she misses for the first time this afternoon. Sophie Dwyer. From a 2-point shot, has missed from the 1-point shot a couple of times. It's just incredible. Degree of difficulty's higher, and she's been outstanding.
That's what makes them such a dangerous attack end, because they have 2 shooters that have the ability to dominate on that Suncorp super shot distance.
And Glasgow down the rim. She'll get another opportunity. Settles the breath, and it got there. That is so important in the final minute of the half for the Fever. Back out to 7 now. Dwyer right in front here, and she overshoots. A little too much power on the shot. And now the West Coast have a chance to extend the advantage in the shadows of halftime. So the super shot accuracy is just dropping for the Giants late in this first half, and it is out now to 8 with just seconds remaining. They've got to go quick if they want to extend it further. West Coast Fever, and they may just do so, and they have. It's a 9-goal margin at halftime. The West Coast Fever shooting out after the Giants fought back just minutes into that Power 5. And Dan Ryan, on his birthday, it's going to plan at the moment. Welcome back to Perth, where it is the West Coast Fever who are leading by 9 goals. Very much thanks to Janelle Fowler, but also Sasha Glasgow, who's been dropping plenty of Suncorp super shots. Sam Poolman, your former side, the Giants, struggling at the moment, but they were down by 11 midweek against the Magpies midway through the second quarter. So So they do have it in them to fight back from this kind of deficit.
They do. They have the ability to score goals and bring a margin back. And they also have a great defensive team that can turn over ball under pressure. They won't think this game's gone, and it's not. They just need to keep chipping away, getting that ball back and scoring off their opportunities. We see Amy Slager come into that wing attack position. She'll bring a lot of fresh legs and energy to this lineup.
So we'll see if those changes for the Giants can have the impact that Julie Fitzgerald is after. It's a 9-goal fight back. They're going to have to produce something special away from home, and that's not the start to the second half that Joe Harton and the Giants would have been after. Teague Neal, and now Frances Bayman, and we've got wonderful access, so it's great to have Dan Ryan, the West Coast Fever coach, joining us now. Firstly, Dan, happy birthday. What were you most impressed with in that first half? We might go back and catch Dan in a moment as Janelle Fowler increases it to 10. And 11 now. So the Giants have 11 to fight back from now, just as it was midweek against the Magpies. Joe Harton is going to bridge that gap back to 10, and Dan Ryan joins us now. First up, Dan, happy birthday. And what were you most impressed with in that first half?
Really good opening 30 minutes from us, probably one of the best of the season, to be honest, and a great response from Tuesday night, and really disciplined in attack to do the hard work, to get closer to circle edge, feed Jay Wells, Sash being a real threat, Alice working exceptionally hard too, and just defensively on and in everything, which we need to be for 60. So positive start, but long, long, long way to go.
Dan, you've spoken a lot about the use of your squad. It's there, so you should use it. How important is that coming into a game like today where you have 2 of your key players out, where you can have someone like Shannon be on court in wing defence and starting being a squad member?
Critically important. We had to go beyond our extended squad today to field a team. So the fact we can have Shannon in our environment, having been here before, she's doing a bloody brilliant job. So it means a lot to have her here, and you know that it's all about the team performance today. So whatever it takes, we need to do it.
We get such great insight into the change rooms at halftime, Dan. We've seen both at home and away. The team have some items in the middle surrounded by fairy lights. Can you give us some insight to what that means? Is that a team culture, a bit of luck? What is it?
None of your business.
Come on, Dan. I know you, and I know it's something around team culture. Can you give us something, just a little bit?
Yeah, no, look, it certainly is. It's a bit of a team culture thing around connecting to our past, present, and future, and it focuses before the game, and you know, it makes us, I suppose, be grateful for where we are and what we get to do, but knowing what we have to do to actually take the next step as a club. So it means a lot to us personally, and I'm sure everyone else watching has no idea what it's about, which is fine.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for your time. Good luck today.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, wonderful to have Dan Ryan on the mic to talk us through that. Good you got that answer out of him as well.
Oh, such great insight. I do know Dan Ryan well, and I've played under him, so I wasn't going to let him get out of it that easily. But you can just see the culture and the teamwork, just something simple that we all want to know what it means. But it means a lot to the players of the Fever.
And it's working pretty well at the moment, obviously, as they lead by 12 goals. And it's about to be 13. So this hill has turned into a mountain for the Giants. So how do they respond now? This is really a test of their mental toughness, isn't it, Sam? In these kind of situations, do you drop your bundle and fall further behind, or can you produce some kind of fight back?
You've got to fight back. These are the games that are so crucial and prepare you for finals. So it's a 60-minute game. There's still plenty of minutes in this game to play. We've seen the injection of different players to come on court. They need to bring something. And what a win from Stacey Frances Bayman. She puts her hands in the air because she knows how crucial that intercept is.
And gets another win against Joe Harton, the two English internationals.
When we see those stats on the board, the turnovers are so much higher in the penalty account.
Well, they had possession and they give it back straight away to Frances Bayman. An absolute gift. And then the Giants have it back. A turnover-a-thon in the last few seconds. And there is the Giants' issue. Goes right to the heart of the matter. Double the turnovers of West Coast. Sligo struggling for an option. Harton with a foot on the sideline was just able to keep inside. And Harton absolutely slammed into by Frances Bayman. That is a duel worth watching. And after all that, it's still 12 the difference.
Have a look at the Harvey Norman replay. The collision from both players. This is how much this game and each ball means. They're not letting it go easy.
Well, Glasgow, she got away with that, hit the rim. And Fowler is able to profit from it. Well, you really feel at this point the Giants are just hanging out for the Power 5. And that's where it all went awry for them in that second quarter.
You're right. We spoke about on Tuesday night's game on Fox Sports the ability to win the 10. We see another turnover from Giants netball there and a frustration look from Joe Harton, but you have to win the first 10. So what I mean by that is you can't rely on the last 5 minutes. Yes, Giants' strength is to bomb those super shots under pressure, but you need to do the work in the first 10 to set yourself up in the last 5 minutes to be in a good position rather than panic and chasing position. So the defensive work needs to happen.
Nat Medhurst is courtside. Nat, what have you made to the start from the Fever in this third quarter?
Other than that turnover just then, it's been really impressive. And I did actually just want to touch on Simmons for Fever. Obviously, last week she was incredibly quiet. There was a lot about her performance. There's a lot of pressure on her as well, being, I guess, really the only option for Dan Ryan at the moment in that centre. But she has been phenomenal throughout this first half of netball. She's second in the tally for the Nessa net points for West Coast Fever, sitting on 68.5. Her ability to be able to stay in play, she's only got 5 penalties, but she's finding that space in the attack for the Fever really well. Her timing is so much better, and she's working really well with Alice Teague-Neal to really find that space and hit the circle edge, which is allowing a real easy feed into Fowler.
Thanks, Nat. Yeah, maybe getting back to some of that best form, which saw her selected for Australia. 3 caps for the Diamonds for Verity Simmons.
And you know that's a quality player. We don't have the best games sometimes, like it can happen depending on who you're matching up against. There's so many quality players in Super Netball. So the ability for her to identify that it wasn't her best game, the feedback to her was very direct from Dan Ryan. He wanted more defensively. To come out today and perform and deliver, only 1 turnover to her name. The amount of hand she has ball in hand that she has, what a great turnaround from her, and a classy player to stand back up and give a response like this.
Well, 3 possessions in this last little forward foray from the West Coast Fever, and Fowler again. Played in the Constellation Cup last year, did Verity Simmons. Maybe an issue here. Maybe just on the sticker. I know they do get a little bit slippery. You'd be better equipped to comment on that, Sam.
I just think, you know, the intensity the match brings, it does also bring a lot of sweat which can drip on the court, and you have to be safe as well. So, you know, if your foot's sliding at all, it is risky, and you do take confidence if you just call time. Have a bit of breather, might I add too, and get it cleaned up. Dwyer once again saw the vision straight to Harton under the post then. I'm too busy talking about sweat on a court.
I love it. Well, it has been a really fierce rivalry. It was only 1 goal the difference back in round 6. It's now a baker's dozen. So Power 5 is approaching. That's a good take from Price. Quickly into Harton. Just keeps them ticking over here as we've got a HCF tactical timeout just before we enter the Power 5. Dan Ryan wants to have a chat to his team.
We've been trying doing a box. It's last three that Jay's known about, okay? So we need you to stay on your players that also have a flight, okay?
And if we do this, we must attack ball, all right?
Yep.
The body, attack ball, all right?
We'll have a crack at the 2-point if you can keep them at ones only. Everything else stays the same. This isn't the last game of the season, so we've got things we're building and working on here.
Don't rush the shot. It's easy as anything, okay?
Help each other out. We're going back to that short facing netball, hands over whenever we can. Here we go. Giants on three!
Back again, okay?
Giants on three!
Julie Fitzgerald and Joe Harton playing the starring roles there in the HCF tactical timeout. A lot going on there, Sam.
There certainly was. Interesting that that timeout was called by Fever. The reason for that would have been strategically to do the game plan against Giants, and Giants being very clear what their game plan is in these twos. So defensively, keep Fever to the 1 point. So where are you positioning? Where are you thinking? What are you doing? And then in the attack, they're going to have a crack for twos. Interesting, I heard Julie say, it's as easy as anything. How about saying that to a shooter taking a two?
Well, they're going to need a few of those. You see on the Harvey Norman replay. Glasgow hitting the floor. Price. Now, Lauren Moore, we heard from her as well during the tactical timeout. This is not going to help the Giants. They just cannot afford to have anything go wrong from this point if they want to pull back the margin.
And Joe Hart said it in the timeout that this is about our season. You want to be in the form and thinking all the time, yes, the scoreline's there, but what kind of netball do you want to be playing?
Let's go to the sideline with Nat.
Yeah, listening into West Coast Fever, as you touched on, Sam, it is so strategic around this 2-point shot and what the teams do. Dan Ryan, with his attack line, is that they don't need to be forcing the 2-point shot if they don't need to. They are in a very, very comfortable position. So making sure that they're smart with their decision making. And in defence, obviously, we know the Giants are going to be wanting to put up those 2-point shots. So making sure that they're working that defence and then up for rebounds. He was very strong on that with the defenders, is making sure that any rebounds are theirs.
Well, there is an important touch, and Parmenter was able to claim the game for the Giants. You just see that turnover count. It is just so significant. The Giants are really hindering any chance of getting back close. They have got the ball in their hands now. They just simply have to nail these Suncorp super shots. And Dwyer does just that. 5 from 7 for her. Julie Fitzgerald knows how easy it is for Sophie and Joe to drain these 2-point shots. And Sophie just proving it there. Glasgow looking to respond. And she doesn't, but she knows it'll be a 1 anyway because Janelle Fowler is there. Dwyer onto Price, and here is Harton. So from wide out, she has another Suncorp super shot. Gee, there's a few $100 going to the Confident Girls Foundation today.
In moments like this in a game, it really shows the strategic and switched on players. They've played multiple games in the last 7 days. They are tired. There is lots on the line. There is a super shot in this Power 5. What are you doing? How do you get the ball? How do you stop? There's so much going on in a player's mind right now. It's those who can step up and deliver in such crucial moments are the ones that are really exciting to watch and the difference for their team.
So Dwyer, and they just got there. And they make it 3 from 3, yes! Joe Harton can. How about this? A run of Suncorp super shots for the Giants side. 11 for the match across both teams as well. And Glasgow does respond for the West Coast Fever. Let's go to the sideline with Nat.
Yeah, just like to see the Giants utilise it through the back line off their centre, through the back end off their centre pass, because they've had up until that switch just now, but Hay and Dwyer were both coming up over the line, forcing them high as Price gives away a penalty, but then there's no one there on that second phase. And with Fever, they are playing offline, so you need someone back who's able to draw the players, able to create and open up space, and then you can use the ball to shift the defender and get some of those easy balls into Hart and under the post.
Final 2 minutes in this third quarter. West Coast Fever with the centre pass.
Amy Slager comes back into the game at wing attack. Maddie Hay we saw go off with the physio in back play, so I think she'll be getting a little bit of attention. And Amy Slager will finish this last minute and a half of this quarter.
Well, you can't give Sasha Glasgow 2 opportunities with a Suncorp super shot. A few years ago, she was thinking of walking away from netball, but Dan Ryan, her coach at the Thunderbirds, said for her to get back to full fitness and then make the decision. And hasn't she been big this season? Joe Hart cannot get it to drain as it rolls around the rim. Bruce, powerful pass forward to Teagnell, and then Simmons.
The vision from Courtney Bruce there, that ball flew down the court in 3 passes. That's how easy and quick Fever can transition down court as we see a breaking, really simple call there on Teagnell. The last 4 goals to Fever.
Well, there's a couple back from Sophie Dwyer. Make it 6 Suncorp super shots for her, 3 for Harton, 5 for Glasgow, 14 for the match. And Courtney Bruce almost got a hand in there. Doesn't quite drop. The West Coast have back possession. They've only got a few seconds. Bruce powers the pass to Simmons, looking for Fowler. It is too long, but it's the West Coast Fever extending this advantage to 13 goals at 3-quarter time as they look set to bounce back from that midweek loss against the Vixens. We'll be back after the break with the run home as the Fever, they look to consolidate a spot in the top 2.
Giants with a big task on their hands here heading into the last quarter here at RAC Arena with a 13-goal deficit. Dan Ryan incredibly happy with his team at the West Coast Fever, asking of his players to make sure that they do the basics right, to hit the line, to hit the edge of the circle, and really smart shot selection. In defence, he still wants them to make sure that they mix up their defensive plays and the pressure that they're applying to the Giants. And in attack, he knows that the Giants are going to come out onto the ball really strongly to create opportunities. So making sure that the Fever players come onto that ball really strongly. And Sam, you're listening into the Giants. What did you get from them?
I was. It was very clear direction and communication from Julie Fitzgerald around the margin. Spoke both to the attackers and defenders and said this margin matters. And she's absolutely right. When we talk about the for and against, the percentage, how close this ladder is on the line for finals, it does. Every goal in this game matters. So Giants need to chip away to get this ball back, to score more on the scoreboard, and then we've held the Fever and limit them. They've been scoring above 20 in every quarter, so they need to make sure that this quarter, under 20 goals for Fever.
An interesting quarter time there, brought to you by Origin Energy. And the Giants, well, it's going to take an absolute miracle, but we did see West Coast fight back late against Collingwood to win here back in round 8. The margin wasn't quite where it is right now, though. Simmons just ghosting in between a couple.
Tilly McDonald comes back onto the court in goalkeeper. She's had the time on the bench to watch and look. So let's keep an eye on her, watch her footwork. The ability to read the ball is her strength. So what impact can she have now in this last 14 minutes of the game? Another really simple turnover from Giants netball. Fever will really capitalise on this. And Giants really need to get in defence straight away, build that pressure so that they have more opportunity when it goes down to the court to Fowler, sorry.
Keep an eye on this score as well, because the most goals in a match in the Suncorp Super Netball is held by both of these two sides, and they both achieved it this year with 82. So they're up to 70 now, the West Coast Fever. This is going to be a massive boost to their percentage, which is very important in that duel for the minor premiership with the Vixens. Glasgow keeps their scoreboard rising for the Fever. Just couldn't quite reach it, Verity Simmons. Now Price, Bruce got herself in the way, but gives away the penalty. And Harton is keeping it ticking over at the other end for the Giants. Their issue at the moment is their biggest strength is that power 5, but the way Sasha Glasgow's rolling at the moment, it's difficult for them to get any gains in that kind of department, going up by 2s, and Fowler's just so accurate.
You're so right,
Look
Sasha Glasgow.
98% Janelle Fowler today.
Well, not only the percent, but the goals. 56 is the volume and the damage that she can do for her team. But you're right, Sasha Glasgow, 74 Nissan net points. She's delivered a really great game, 21 goal assists. So we've often talked about in previous years that goal attack being that area that Fever were beatable and lacking, whereas this year they've got multiple options. Sasha, Alice, Emma Kosh, and they're really dominating in that position, and Sasha's having a really good game. Look at the Nissan net point match leaders. No surprise, 4 Fever players leading that entire attack end. Fowler, Glasgow, Simmons, and Teague Neal. So that's how influential that attack end for the Fever is today. They've been almost unstoppable.
Well, you can certainly see why they have the best attack in the competition.
And that's what you need to do as a team. If you are lacking in position, so we knew coming into this game, the goal defence and wing defence position looked differently. Other areas of the court need to stand up. And for me, that's exactly what the attack end and all individual players from the Fever have done.
Julie Fitzgerald encouraging her side on here. It's the margin just hovering around this 13-14 goal in the 4th quarter. And that is not helpful for the Giants. Harton again. The Giants are up to 60. The only concern you feel for West Coast Fever moving in towards the finals is going to be their defence. They've got the 3rd worst in the competition, and they've now conceded more than 60 goals in 4 consecutive matches. That is the only concern for Dan Ryan at the other end. They are dominating, 74 goals today. And Frances Bayman, it comes off the post. Lucks of fortune for Stacey Frances Bayman.
I'm going to say she 100% needed to set herself up like that. She will be excited with the ability to get that ball, but then also keep it in play with Courtney Bruce off the baseline using the post. So really skillful, if she meant it or not. It was great to watch.
Fowler with the one arm, just levering it down. She's got glue on her hands, isn't it? Everything sticks to the hands of Janelle Fowler.
and everything looks so easy. I'd be encouraging the Giants defenders at this point to have a fly at the ball. So see if they can come off and take the ball off the centre court rather than just waiting and see if they can do the one-on-one contest on Fowler, because she's just getting it way too easy now.
Harton snatches it down just before Bruce came across. And Janelle Fowler looking for the leading goal shooter in the Suncorp Super Netball for the 5th season in a row. And of course, she'll be a key part in Jamaica's quest for a medal at the Commonwealth Games. They've won bronze at the last 2. And they are out to 16 now. Let's go sideline with Nat.
Yeah, I don't think we've given enough credit to the work that Frances Bayman has done. Last time these two teams met, Sophie Dwyer shot 30 from 32 and 5 out of 6 on the super shots, and today she's sitting at 10 from 12 and 5 from 8. So Frances Bayman has done a phenomenal job in defence in keeping her busy and keeping her up quite high. She hasn't been able to get that nice easy run and that movement across the top of the circle that we see from her so frequently, and also the out of defence for by Frances Bayman. Her attack has also been crucial in the way in which this Fever attack line has then been able to work. So she's been outstanding in this game.
Stepping in for Sunday Ariang, who's out due to the COVID protocols. And that is fantastic for Dan Ryan in the depth moving forward. Without 3 today, Rudy Ellis, Jess Anstis, and also Sunday Ariang. So 3 to come back into that contracted 10 as 2 Giants come together, McDonald and Grandley, and that's the kind of afternoon it has been for the Giants. And the Fever, they're only 3 goals away from the record, 4 away from breaking it. And I tell you what, they are going to go a long way this afternoon if they can keep racking these up. Look at this, Fowler just walking through a couple as they're falling over next to her on the Harvey Norman replay. You wish you were out there, Sam, going up against her? You're happy you're in here?
Oh, I'm happy to sit here and watch and talk about it. I think she's such an incredible shooter, and for me, every single year she gets better. Why they are so dangerous this year is because that entire attack line, we mentioned it just before, every single play that they have is standing up and delivering. As Simmons, what a strong take from her and what a performance in this game she's had.
Well, can she lead the West Coast Fever to their first ever title? That's the question now, because they are going to win this one. They are going to lock down a spot in the top 2, and they will be playing in the finals.
For me, it's the depth. Courtney Bruce, an easy intercept for her. She read that so early and made it look so easy. But for me, it's the depth in squads is going to matter. We spoke about it early in the season with COVID playing absolute havoc on these teams once again. And for me, we've still got 3 weeks to play and a final series. So depth in a squad is so important.
So a HCF tactical timeout called by Dan Ryan. Just having a chat to Verity Simmons. How much work has she done today? 67 Nissan net points. That's 3rd on the list for the Fever.
Last quarter, acknowledging what these guys need right now going into Super Shot period, okay? So everything we can to delay, deny, push back up court and not let them have any easy access to circle edge. So first couple of centre passes, flood again. Big arms, keep them off the edge. Sit nice and high, only 1 pointers for those guys, all right? In attack, guys, this is, in attack, us controlling tempo, all right? So stay aggressive, stay really punchy onto every ball, but just chip it away, all right? 1 pointers, and then you're feeling it, all right?
Let's look, okay? Look down as well. Yeah. Because they're coming for that little one.
Everyone right now has to choose another level of work rate to win this game. Work rate, work hard, dig deep. Let's go.
Let's go!
Fever 3, 1, 2, 3. We win.
Wouldn't you love to inject a Dan Ryan pep talk into your veins, Sam?
I think everybody at home gets absolutely inspired and excited. They can feel the energy that he gives to their team what I love is he gives that energy but gives them the direction, so it's very clear what his expectations are. And for me, tactically and strategically so smart. In this game, every time it's about to go in the power 5, he strategically calls a HCF timeout. So he knows how much damage Giants can do in this last 5 minutes and gives his team a chance to reset, strategically deliver what he wants and go out and do it.
A massive margin here. Joe Harton trying to add some kind of respectability to it, but it is going to be a tough one for the Giants. 82 goals. This is equaling the record in the Suncorp Super Netball. They're not going to get the opportunity to break it just yet. It's a record that is held by the Giants as well. They beat the Lightning 82-54 back in round 7. Harton with a chance for a Suncorp Super shot. And it does fall eventually for Joe Harton. So here is the Fever shot now. After this Giants centre pass to get themselves into the record books outright. Joe Harton, though, trying to bridge it back again. Bruce got up there, and the penalty goes against the captain of the West Coast Fever. Well, they've got to look for 2, don't they? At this point, Sophie Dwyer really had to get the measurements right on that. Pass to Harton, and it doesn't fall.
This is why rebounds and staying in play is so important. The more, if you penalise, the more opportunity, another chance that they get. And if you don't get those rebounds, you can see here, Giants get another opportunity to have a go at a super shot.
Well, Harton and Bruce came together. Oh, how about that from Dwyer? Long and looping and dropping. Back to 13. Still a massive mountain to climb still for the Giants. Final 4 minutes.
They need to get ball here, Giants. They need to take a risk. Dan Ryan gave specific feedback to Fever to keep chipping away at this and go for the one. So they're okay to pass the ball around and move. Giants don't have time. They need to have a crack, take a risk, back yourself in and stay in play.
Zoe Kransberg just getting ready. Glasgow, it spills out. They still can't quite get the record. They're stuck on 82. Harton for another 2. Yes! Back to 11 for the Giants. What is going on with this number 82 in the Suncorp Super Netball? No one can quite get past it. That's a good take from Maddie Hay.
The last 4 goals are from the Giants. Joe Harton sinks another super shot. This is exactly what we've spoken about. Giants are so good in this last 5 minutes. You cannot give them any opportunity to get that ball off you. Fever need to be really smart, keep possession, but do the work. It's not just going to happen for you. We see Zoe Kransberg come into the centre, so she'll provide a little bit more energy into it. As we saw Simmons, I reckon her calf wasn't great in a contest before, so I reckon that's where the swaps come from.
So there's the record-breaking goal from Janelle Fowler, 83 for the first time in the Suncorp Super Netball. And the Giants, again, just as they look to be making headway, turn it over again. That's really well done from Teague Neal. Sasha Glasgow, 5 from 8 thus far. Overshoots the mark. Fowler can't keep it in. So how about the super shot today? 5 from Glasgow, 6 from Dwyer, 7 from Harton. Remember, the individual record is 10 from Joe Harton. Price and Dwyer hurls it across to Hay. Harton just squeezing in between. Yes, there's 8 for Joe Harton. She's getting close to that individual record that she holds. Maybe she's looking to extend it. It's going to take something special from here to So this is big for Julie Fitzgerald's team, the fact that they're reducing this margin in what is going to be such a tight competition. She'll be happy that it's 9 and not 16 as it has been throughout this fourth quarter.
She was very clear in the break that they needed to focus on this margin and get it back, and that's what they've done. There's a 21-17 goal quarter. Now, Fever have dominated in the first 3 as Joe Harton sinks another Suncorp super shot. But are we surprised, Ben? This is exactly what she's good at. She's the captain of this team. When they need her to stand up and deliver, she does exactly that.
So she's 1 away from the record. Will she get a chance to go for it again? Janelle Fowler, she doesn't score many. And she doesn't add to her account this season. She may get another chance. She's only scored 3 from 13. Fowler, this time, she does. And it's 4 for the season. And the perfect way to end for the West Coast Fever as they bounce back from that midweek defeat and they all but seal a top 2 spot on the Suncorp Super Netball ladder.